Hi, everybody, and welcome back to continuous coverage of the 2015 Junior Gold Championships here in suburban Chicago. I'm Hall of Famer Randy Peterson, your humble television announcer for the PBA Tour. Joining me, special guest Chris Schlemmer, 14-year veteran of Storm, the Bowlers Company. Chris, currently the brand manager of Rotogrip. Chris, welcome.
Hey, Randy, what's going on, buddy?
Just doing what I do.
I know you're more comfortable doing this than me. So I've only done a handful of these internet deals over the course of my bowling career. You're a seasoned veteran. I guess you're the legend. You're the legend of the team.
Well, Chris, when you're paid by the word, you have to be able to talk.
See, I knew I was in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Damn it. All right.
So here we are. We're down to the top 16 in each division. Folks, on your left pair, 47 and 48, is the 20 and under girls division. On 49 and 50, it's the 15 and under division. We're down to the 16. We're now in the brackets. It's 2-game matches, total pins.
Correct.
Double elimination.
That is correct. And also, for those of you keeping score at home, we also had they've already announced 4 boys and 4 girls that are already auto-seeded onto the Team USA based on the way they just finished that qualifying part. So the top 4 in each of these divisions for the U20 and U boys and girls are already on the team. So this is to better your placement in the tournament for some of them, but the others are still trying to earn a berth onto the team. But also we have the scholarship money is really the big thing too, Randy.
Well, anytime you get down to the bracketed format, match play, if you will, it starts to get real exciting, especially in a 2-game total pin match.
Yeah, I was actually sitting down on the other end as the boys were finishing their last qualifying round, and then earlier today I was actually with Craig down in the U12 kids, and I tell you what, there's some up-and-coming talent, and watching their 2-game matches down there, it was almost every match down there came down to the 10th frame of the second game, and those kids it's count, it's spares, it's I need a strike here, and some of these kids are only 10 years old. And there was the one kid, I got to laugh, the one kid down there, he had the Pete Weber golf glove on, and he did the crotch chop after he got the first, got the hit in the 10th, and it sealed the deal, and it was pretty cool. So.
That's awesome. A lot of great talent. I mean, this is the cream of the crop here in the States. I mean, it's the nation's brightest stars, and we're now bowling on the 40-foot Athens pattern, so a little bit shorter than what they just came off of. The shorter the pattern, obviously a little bit more back end. You've got a little bit more lane off the end of the pattern to get your ball to curve. And so obviously this pattern is going to play a little bit different than the last pattern did, the London pattern.
And the one thing I want to make notice too, and I'm sure you've been here for a good majority of the day, Randy, I noticed too when these girls, they've had time to get prepped for this squad with the U20 boys down there taking a little bit longer to finish their qualifying deal. Then we had the roll-off. I see a lot of fresh surface for some of these girls that are playing that spot from out, because even though the pattern is the 40 feet and a little bit shorter than we came off of, they still know that they need to get closer to the gutter, and they still know that they need to kind of develop a spot that fits their game to kind of break them down. And that's the one thing I commend the girls on, because earlier today, when I was actually down with Lucas and the guys on the other end, I was right on the pairs of, it was boys on one side and girls on the other. And the girls, the way they fill frames, picking spares, throwing strikes, the high girl on the game 3 earlier today, the high girl shot 250, like 254, 255. The low girl was like 185. Right next door on the pair next to it, the boys, there were 2 120 games, a 140 game, and their high on the pair was like 202. And I was just trying to explain to people at home that the way the kids break it down, and especially girls to boys, the girls have a tendency to kind of migrate. Same thing happens now on the PWBA Tour. They migrate closer together, break the lanes down going front to back as opposed to chopping them up side to side. And that's where a lot of the boys ran into problems there, and some kids that actually fell out of the cut there towards the end, down on the other end, that they just ran out of real estate. They didn't know which way to go. So,
Julia Bond stepping up here on lane 47. 2 great shots to start, back-to-back strikes. But Chris, in regards to your last statement, the girls don't have as much hand.
Correct.
They play the lanes, if you will. They play the lanes correctly. The boys, they tend to not have dry to throw into, so what do? They jump into fourth arrow immediately. And you know what? It's no different than what we see on the tour.
I was going to actually say the same thing, and it's one of those deals that I had some kids outside. I was in the pro shop a while ago, and some kids that were struggling on the pattern, and hey, how do we play this? How do we do that? And I'm like, well, I said, you really have to learn from the girls. It's a matter of keeping your angles in front of you so you guys can see what's going on. And I said, a lot of you boys, I said, not to mention, too, on the one pattern, there was the one game, there was a kid throwing plastic down the middle, 3 kids throwing urethane, and then the other guys are trying to get left of it and one right of it with bigger balls. I said, man, these kids are basically creating their own, their own trap zone. Yeah, they didn't know where to go.
Right, so. And so in order for the boys to kind of get into that zone where the girls are, they have to take stronger equipment and back their hand out. It's not always jumping into fourth, fifth arrow and banging the cover off of that bowling ball.
Yep.
How about moving right, staying a little bit more direct, softening that hand up a little bit so that you can stay in that zone a little bit longer so you can actually create a little bit better shot.
Absolutely. And for some of the kids, and that was their mindset with some of the guys, like I said, using the urethane balls, trying to get a little bit more direct and going at them. But again, urethane, when you get that much lane traffic, when some of those pairs, they had 10, 11 kids, it makes it tough to get a predictable motion. And like you said, getting a bigger ball, a little bit more surface, or even if it's a weaker ball, and that's a lot of times, there's been times even, I can remember back to example, one that comes quick off the top of my head, Danny Wiseman, the one year at the Masters, he made the show in Vegas. Danny had a good run. Man, he used it was like a 44-foot pattern. We had a lot of oil, but he used a Pluto, which is a high RG, low diff, but he put like 1,000 on it and trapped a lane in front of him.
Right.
And, he's beating some pretty big-name guys that have been hooking all week, and he's just playing his little deal zone in front of them.
Right.
And that's what these girls are really good at doing.
Yep. Joining us once again in the booth here, along with myself and Chris Schlemmer, is
my man,
rising star AJ Johnson. AJ, welcome back. How about now?
It works now.
Now we hear you. All right.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back.
Now, Chris, I'm going to turn this helm over to you, and
Sweet.
AJ, I'm going to head on out. Got an early day tomorrow, but I want you to take us down
memory lane.
I want you to take us.
Back before
it
AJ.
All started
before AJ was a little boy.
It all started at band camp.
Yeah.
And
man.
anyway, Chris Schlemmer, folks, he's the brand manager for Rotogrip. Chris, kudos to you. We've talked about it a lot, especially in our sales meetings, our annual sales meetings. But where you were to where you are now is a testament to your hard work and knowledge of the sport. It wasn't too long ago that you were watching me make the back-to-back shows at Mohegan Sun at the Tournament of Champions.
Yes, sir. I was part of it.
Now you're the brand manager for Rotogrip. Why don't you let everybody in on what you do for Rotogrip, some of the new product line that you just introduced at Bowl Expo, and you guys take it away.
Beautiful. Thanks, Randy. I appreciate all that. And to give everybody a little tidbit of what I do actually as brand manager of Rotogrip, my job is pretty fun. It's pretty cool. After spending over a decade out on the PBA tour as a tour rep, I've now moved into the office side of things and being part of R&D and coaching and marketing and different things. With doing the Rotogrip thing, I actually design the balls, the bags, the apparel for the Rotogrip brand. And so here coming up in a few weeks, we just announced them last week at Bowl Expo. And the other night, AJ, you were here. We actually had the matchmaker. Mm-hmm. We've got the new high. We've got from HB4, HB3, HB2, and HB1. We've got 5 balls coming out for the Rotogrip brand August 11th. Any of you out there that are worried about me, or asking about the crazy colors of bowling balls, I'm that guy. I'm the guy that comes up with the concoctions, and it's kind of cool.
Mastermind.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that in designing balls, the fun part of it is not only picking the colors and doing the name process and all that jazz, but it's also, before it even gets to that point, it's creating the what ball do we need in the line? What do we need? We need a solid cover stock. We need a hybrid. What surface prep do we need? What core are we going to use? And there's a lot of other variables that mix into it as well. And I will tell everybody that working on this particular launch that's coming out, on the Rotogrip side, we needed some solid balls in a line. We needed to add some different looks, and it's not only just designing balls for the Rotogrip side. I also designed balls. I looked at our line on the Rotogrip side, but also how is it going to mesh with the Storm side?
Yeah.
And AJ, you bowl on tour now. You're full time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're out with the boys full time now. I'm kind of, like I said, step back off of that. I'm the fill-in guy when need be to come out there and help you guys. But there's a couple pieces that recently have been discontinued on the Storm side, or stuff that we haven't had in a while. And starting with the Menace, the idea behind it was I knew the Sinister was good last year, and I just needed a different cover, and so I went with a straight solid reactive. And most people are like, well, why would you do that? Why is it high end? Why is it sanded? I'm like, well, first of all, we haven't had a straight solid reactive ball on either side, Storm or Rotogrip, in a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
And have you got to throw those balls yet?
I have not.
Okay.
They are in process, on their way to my house.
En route. All right,
Yeah.
sweet. And so the idea behind it was to get a solid with an asymmetric, and that core is pretty strong. And really, the best comparison that we've kind of formulated so far with the reactions and stuff like that is that the HP4 ball actually is actually compared to like the old virtual gravity. So that's been kind of cool. And so far that we just had Tim Mack and Stu Williams actually went to San Marino over in Italy. And both players actually took all three of the high-end balls with them, with the Menace. And then, obviously HP3, we've got the Haywire, which is the disturbed core. And we covered that with a Hypercell cover, the microbite. There's all people that were a big fan of the disturbed, and bringing that core back, and now the idea was to have a ball that hooks a little bit more on the Rotogrip side, but also fill the gap on the Storm side, because we just get to continue to marvel less. So, creating that variety.
Which was a great piece, by the way. I absolutely love that ball.
Yeah, and I believe that's what you used to make the show at the Masters, yes?
Yes, it was. So when I heard it was discontinued, I ordered a case of them right away.
Yeah, but now no need to worry, because we've now got the, like I said, the disturbed core with that Hypercell cover, which is the microbite, which is the nanotype technology.
Yeah.
So everyone that's thrown it so far has been super excited. We already had a staffer last night in California, shot 800 with it, first 3 games out of the box.
Wow.
Garrett Richardson, Pro Shop staffer, and he's like, Schlem, this ball's good.
Yeah.
So I know
you guys,
I'm
really
tour
excited.
Guys are excited about it. So.
I'm super excited. I absolutely love the Disturb. So when I caught wind that one of the new ones coming out was going to be a new a remake, or a basically reproduced Disturbed, I got real excited.
A little bit stronger cover, and who else was excited was PDW. He asked me the other day, he goes, Schlem, what's this new ball? And I explained it to him. He goes, well, I've been using Hypercell on the senior tour. And I said, well, we've got that cover with a new core, so he's pumped. But joining us now, we've AJ, our booth's expanded. We now have no other than the man himself, Chad Murphy.
Big timer.
Chad, welcome to the show. And we were discussing your exact title. You are the
Executive Director of USBC.
Executive Director of USBC, in case you're keeping score at home. That is, he is the guy that is, I got to be honest with you, bro, it's helped grow the sport of bowling and youth bowling to what this is right now. And I know, and I'm sure you've heard it all this week, there's been a little bit of frustration. But like I tell people all the time, I can remember, and this is actually before you even with the USBC, my first junior gold experience was I was already working for Storm as a tour rep, and they said, hey, Schlem, we need you to go to junior gold. I'm like, okay, cool. I go to Winter Haven, Florida. There was 900 entrants total at Winter Haven, Florida, and the USBC goes, oh, this is the biggest thing we've ever seen. This is, I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how we could ever top this. And I left that tournament. I completely remember like it was yesterday. Calling the office, talking to my bosses, and I said, by the way, this is going to get big, and we need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, sponsorships and everything went on with manufacturers, and, there for a while, I myself and some other guys, some other tour reps, we would do seminars each year at Junior Gold. But each year it slowly kept getting bigger, and I got to tell you what, we had, 3,400 kids this year, 3,100 made the trip.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
incredible.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, when you think about it, my first junior gold isn't that much different. I was asked to do a seminar as one of the manufacturers. And
were you in Winter Haven?
No, I believe that was when it was in Dallas.
Okay.
At that time.
Okay.
I did it for a couple years. But it was steady growth with the event all the way through 2011. We were in Las Vegas. There's 1,648 kids. And I had just really we combined the youth areas at the campus. That was my first junior gold working as a BPAA USBC employee, if you will. And I remember going to the event. I spent the whole week walking through registration, and then the tournament, crowned a champion. And I was just so amazed by it. I came back the next week, and I told our guys, I put our staff in a room, and I said, every kid in the country has to experience this.
Absolutely.
If we are going to really grow the sport of bowling, and I want the key word to be there, the sport of bowling.
Yep.
The things that are great about our sport have to be enjoyed by all.
Yep.
And so we've made some changes to the event. The other big piece of it is the addition of the U15 and the U12s. Any research that you'll do on youth sports, one of the first things it'll talk about successful youth activations is peer-to-peer interaction.
Yep.
And so you can't have 9-year-olds bowling against 20-year-olds. You can't have 9-year-olds bowling against 9-year-olds or 10-year-olds or 11-year-olds. So we added the U15, and then last year we added the U12. It's been an amazing success. We'll admit it got away from us a little bit this year. The growth was tremendous, 27% up this year over last year. But these kids are having a great time. They're competing.
Absolutely.
The talent level is sick.
It is unbelievable.
It's amazing. Not just the U20, U15,
the U12
but the
kids.
U12 kids.
I did the broadcast down there earlier today, and I was filling Randy in before you guys got here, and we had the one kid down there that did the crotch chop, slapping it off because he needed the hit in the 10th. We had some of the girls throwing some unbelievable. They needed some shots in the 10th frame. And the one little girl got up. It was like she stoned a 10-pin like in the 9th. Got up, picked it like it was nobody's business. Got up, filled her count. She's like, came back, gave it a fist bump. She's like, yeah, I got this. I'm like, holy cow, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just amazing to watch. But I was even down there earlier today. When I got here first thing this morning, that's where I went first. And I'm watching a couple of kids. I'm actually in my mind processing how I bowled at 11 or 12 years old. And, trying to get from the back of the approach to the foul line was a challenge. To watch these kids.
Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even bowl. I wasn't even bowling at that age. I didn't start bowling until, my father bowled as a kid growing up, but I didn't bowl. I was actually playing because of my size, obviously, as most of you do. I didn't play football because I had bad knees, but I played basketball and baseball. And eventually my knees and ankles just kind of gave out, and the doctor's like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm like, man, what the heck can I do? And I kind of actually literally, as I like to put it, I fell into bowling, and here I am now. But, I was 14 when I picked up my first ball, and it's amazing watching these little guys and girls down there. And, as we got some great action here in the U20, we've got
pretty close match.
Julia Bond stepping up here in the 8th. Sorry to derail the convo there. We just haven't caught much bowling into this. And, it's a close match. We've got within, 16? Julie she's stepping up here in the 7th. And over here in the U15, we got Tyra. She's actually down a little bit, but, again, it's a 2-game match, total pins, so anything can happen on that pair.
A lot can happen.
Absolutely.
I'm doing this by memory, but if memory serves, Julia Bond was our first U15 champion.
Oh, yeah? That would have been, last year?
It would have been
a couple years ago?
Brianna Clemmer was the first U15 winner.
Was she? Or so she bowled Julia in the finals.
She bowled Julia in the finals. Yeah.
Right.
Brianna won the U15 the year that I won.
Yeah.
And that was the first year they expanded it.
You're right.
Nice.
She bowled Julia in the finals. That's right.
See, I'm glad we got some history nuts here that can fill me in because
and it wasn't all that long ago.
I haven't been in junior gold in a few years now, but I tell you what, I remember my experiences, like I said, dating back to the early 2000s and just watching it grow and being a part of it there for a while. I was like 6 or 7 years in a row, and it was a pretty amazing thing. And like I said, we've got what we have now, and it's pretty darn cool. There's Tyra over here in the U15, catches a bad break. But again, this match that one's actually snugged up. It's not too far off, just with counts and positioning. And we were talking earlier before you guys got into with Randy was about how the girls play them, and we're now on the Athens pattern, which is 40 feet. The girls keep their angles in front of them, and they play more direct and kind of works, even though they're not intentionally doing it. They're working together to break the pattern down, to play in kind of in the same similar zone, as opposed to watching the boys earlier today, and
they like to hook it down there.
They, like Randy said, he goes, man, some of these kids, they just keep stepping left and just grabbing more of it. And I go, yeah. He goes, Slim, and your experiences on tour. I go, Randy, we've got the same thing happens on the PBA tour But we can now compare some. Now we get the PWBA tour back, comparing the way the girls play patterns to the way the guys play patterns.
Yeah.
Again, keeping angles in front of them, keeping it simple, and repeating shots.
We were talking about that earlier, and I mean, I'll say it. When girls bowl, they're smarter than we are. It's almost.
I'll say it. Attaboy.
Unintentionally, they almost work together to break patterns down, and it works out in their favor. And they are perfectly okay with hitting the pocket and getting 9 and picking their spares. Guys hit the pocket and don't strike, and they freak out.
Yeah, and it's a ball change. I got to jump 2 arrows left. I got to bang on it harder.
Exactly.
Got to do that, and it was the example. I've used it quite a few times today. It was game 3 in the first qualifying set this morning, and I was down there with Lucas, and it was the girls on one side and the boys, and the girls, the low game was like 185. The high game for the girls was like 255 or something like that. Right next door in the boys pair, there were a couple 120s and 140. Their high game was like 205. And I said that right there is a prime example, as you guys folks can see at home, of how filling frames. And then I did the spare count, and between all the boys and girls, the girls they picked twice as many spares as the boys.
Oh, easily.
They struck a lot less, but they had a lot better games.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've kind of minimized it the last few years when I get a kid or somebody that's younger and a parent that asks me, what's the best way to go about these? And I keep it pretty simple. Make sure you hit the one in front.
And the one's close to you.
And if you leave something,
knock it down.
Ensure that you hit the one in front that time too.
Yep.
But the girls, to your point, the lower rev rate allows them to stand a little closer to the dry on the fresh, and it's going to break down differently. But the one thing that I see that's going on out here, and it's really happened most of the patterns, but this one specifically, you can also see them using a lot more surface. They're using controlled balls.
Absolutely.
Which is a big piece of it.
And that was the one thing I didn't see what the boys were doing down there as we came down here to get set up for this once we got back on the air. And I noticed, I told Randy, I said, these girls are using bigger balls. I said, I see a lot of fresh covers, meaning that they're not intentionally they're not like what we do on the PBA tour. They're not trying to torch a spot so they can jump left and wheel it.
Right.
They're using that because they need their ball to react and kind of shape. And then if they have to, they can make ball changes in that same zone. But a lot of them are use that same ball this whole, both sets of, because they bowl 2 matches right now. Total of 4 games. And it's just a matter of having a fresh cover on the ball. So.
Exactly.
So, Chad, I got to ask, obviously we as Storm being a sponsor this year, we're honored, and it's been an awesome time. It's from our matchmaker Friday night to, we had our registration day to our day at the park and different things. And, we're taking notes and expanding to look what we can do, differently next year to help make the experience better for everybody. And I'm sure, and I don't know if you can divulge any of that, but I know that you guys have been taking notes as well, and different things that, and obviously we'll work together to make things better. Because I know there was, again, like I was telling one parent before outside, it's one of those things when you have your kids, and whether it's, baseball or hockey or football, man, you're going to an arena or you're going to a venue that's designed to hold spectators.
Yeah.
By the way, when they built bowling centers 50, 60, however many years ago this place was built, did you ever think that they go, you know what, in 2015, there's going to be over a couple thousand people trying to squeeze in here at once? I'm pretty sure that wasn't on the docket back then. So,
no.
And once you kind of put things into perspective, and, at some bowling centers, and the only one that was, I guess really back in the day would be the Thunderbird in Detroit, the Thunderbowl, because it actually, in the arena side, that is now, there's still the arenas underneath that in the concrete. I don't know if you've ever been underneath there.
No.
It's pretty cool. Where they built 2 lanes, they had stadium seating, and that was back in like the 60s. Yeah. I got the tour, and you kind of underneath, and you're like, wow, this is kind of cool. But yeah, there was no like arena stage set up for, and we don't have anything really like that. Even, taking like the new stadium in Vegas or even Reno. Again, you're not going to put a lot of people in seats because there's no seats. Yeah. So we have to, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
No, it's a challenge every year. And I've been quoted as saying this several times. I love our bowling center proprietors. I love bowling centers around this country. I mean, I've been in a bunch of them, which is kind of one of those interesting things going all the way back to when I was bowling, but then tour repping and from there. So I got to see a lot of the country. But bowling centers, it's just a terrible place to have a sporting event.
Yeah.
And because a sporting event is really very different than a tournament. And Chris, you'll remember this, but go back into the late 90s. PBA got new owners. We started seeing arena finals more and more. In Erie, We had one. The U.S. Opens in Phoenix were in an arena.
Yep.
Mohegan Sun, which was an awesome facility.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
And so we tried. But the difference between that and this is those were just the TV shows in the arena.
Correct.
Where
when
with
you're down to 5 people, you only need a couple lanes. You're like, we can get this done.
Yeah.
And you can't go, we're going to build 4 lanes and we're going to put it in an arena. Oh, by the way, this is going to take 7 months for us to bowl this entire tournament.
Right.
Yeah, we can't do that.
But the thing that I've been trying to explain, in a way that will make sense is, most of what we're trying to do here is in front of the pillars, and not that we don't care about the parents or the moms or the dads, and really there's a lot of grandparents here too, which is pretty cool. But it's tough because they're moving pairs. But to maintain the integrity of the event, and there's a lot of history with this event. Jim Zebehazy and Daryl Dobbs were the ones that created it. I'm going all the way back into the early 90s. The amount of games that go with it, a real test. We're qualifying athletes to bowl Team USA and go all over the world.
Travel the world, exactly.
And so to maybe just have them bowl in one center doesn't make a whole lot of sense. To have them bowling on one pair doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so by 15 games over 3 centers, we feel like that's a pretty solid test. So we want to maintain the integrity of that moving forward.
Absolutely.
But as with every year and everything, there'll be a postmortem that takes place. But this year, different than maybe years past, is we've already started looking at what the future of this is going to be, and we'll make an announcement later this fall. It'll certainly be a format change, not necessarily fewer games, and definitely not fewer kids, because we're not going to go backwards in that area. We want more and more kids that want to be a part of this to be a part of this. But it is time to really take a look at the way we're operating it from behind the pillars, to make it a little easier. And so you'll see that from us this fall for next summer.
And, it's one of those things like anything else, and, it's part of life. It's trial and error. You don't know until you get to the point of, hey, we push the limits. Okay, how do we fix it, make it better?
Right.
I don't know of anything in life that was, hey, you know what? We're going to do this. It's going to be perfect the first time. Yeah, it doesn't happen. So, it's a growing pains, and we're gonna, and that's what with the Storm brand, Storm, Rotogrip, and Master, we're proud to be a part of it and be a part of it the next couple of years, and be along for the ride and helping this grow and make it as big as we can.
Yeah, and hey, we love having you. I'll tell you, when we first started talking to the team at Storm about this, there were so many great ideas, things that were extra ancillary things that could go on. I think one of the real gems of this week's Junior Gold that maybe even some folks didn't even know about was the wiffle ball game at the park.
You know what? I was just telling
a blast.
I was telling somebody, AJ, my man here, was pitching, and I was shagging, and myself and Hank, obviously we're not exactly spring chickens anymore, and not to say that I'm kind of fluffy too, but man, my hamstrings are still zinging me from Sunday, and I look back and I go, I wasn't so bad, but I'm like, man, I was out there from like noon to 4, like I'm pretty much nonstop shagging balls. I'm like, I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah,
but it was fun.
I'll even follow with that because I think you guys said maybe 400, maybe 500 people came through there.
Oh, probably at least more than that.
Way more than that.
And I promise you, the way things work, it'll double next year.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just kind of the process of it. But I know the kids that came out there loved it. There'll be more folks out there next year because of it.
And it was our first attempt, and it was the idea of, hey, we knew it was going to be a grueling week inside a bowling center. Let's get outside. We were fortunate enough that we didn't have any rain or anything. It was warm. Don't get me wrong. It was hot. But, we had anything from cornhole. We had some footballs. We had soccer balls. We had wiffle ball. We had Frisbees. We had just an overall great time. And obviously we'll look to do something similar to that next year. And you had AJ pitching for a while. We had Pete Weber pitching for a while. Carolyn pitched for a while.
Yeah.
Hank threw some.
It was great. And I think the kids enjoyed it
absolutely
more than I think we did because they got to see us outside of the bowling center doing something different.
Correct.
I don't want to make a big deal about it, but I'm pretty sure I could hit Carolyn.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you could too.
And
what's funny? She was practicing, getting ready for Lubbock this week, and she's probably going to smack us both the next time she sees us. But
yeah.
She's like, Shalem, she goes, my wiffle ball arm hurts.
Yeah.
She pitched a couple times, and she's like, she went and practiced. She goes, it took me a while to get that wiffle ball thing out of there.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you have any trouble. Her daughter was taking her yard quite a few times.
Alyssa had some big wicks going. So. Getting back to the action over here, what do we got going on? 199, frame ahead. Yeah, within about 20-pin match here on the U20, and then the U15 is actually a pretty snug match too. And even looking at the pairs beyond that, again, it's what's cool about this format, and I said this earlier today on another feed, was that even for the little guys and little girls, getting down, these matches are going to come down to the 9th and 10th frame.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these kids that have never experienced that. They've bowled. They're hey, this is what I want to do, and they get to, man, they made the cut, and now they made this cut, and now it's like, okay, you have to bowl a 2-game total pin match, and they're like, okay, I just got to bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like, some of them don't even know that part, and then other ones they almost psych themselves out, like, oh, 2-game match, I got to do that. Like, no, just get up there, bowl, have fun.
I think the younger kids kind of. They kind of have a little bit of an advantage because they're just not used to it. They don't know about it. The older kids are going to be the ones pressing here, pressing there, like, oh, it's 2 games. And then your game is over with, and you got one more game. And they're like, oh no, I'm only 10 pins behind. I'm only. You just gotta take it as like the younger groups and just bowl. Do your best every frame and just see what happens.
Yeah, it's just development, the stage that their brains and bodies can understand it, and they're not going to worry or think about things that the big kids are, and they're not going to be as aware. We learned a lot last year by having the U12 the first time, and literally when we went down and literally watched it to see, because we had one less game, we didn't know whether they could bowl as many games as the big kids, so we backed it off, but we found out that wasn't the case. But when we turned them on for practice, or coming out of practice to the arrows, one of the first things that we noticed was there was no lane courtesy. And I don't mean that they weren't given one lane courtesy, but, half the pairs, the person got up on the right lane, and it was rapid fire. I mean, the big kids down here, it took virtually an hour to bowl a match, and they were done in about 18 minutes.
Yep.
I mean, so it's just a different deal, but it's also funny. Yeah. But the great thing about it is they will develop over time. We're going to, 10 years from now, and quote me on this one. Okay. A decade from now, we're going to have somebody that started out in U11 or U12.
Oh, absolutely.
An 11-year-old.
They're going to win a PBA Tour title or PWBA title. Guaranteed.
Probably bowled in a title match of the U12. They made their way through the U15. They end up winning junior gold as a U20 member. Might be a collegiate champion, and then lands on the PWBA Tour. That's
realistic.
A success story.
Absolutely.
You got that right.
But it's the development ladder that'll give them that.
Yep.
And they'll learn how to play the lanes differently, as you know you do, AJ. It's just constant learning through doing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool when you think about it.
Never stop learning, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, and that's the one thing I've always driven home from day one of my first exposure to this event. And the same thing, and AJ, you know how this goes. You've bowled on tour now enough, and you're now a dedicated tour player. Every time you lace up on your bowl, example, you just made the show at the Masters. You bowled great all week. You didn't win.
Right.
But you know what? You came away from it. Yeah, you would have liked to win, but you learned from it.
Exactly.
And that's what I've told so many parents and kids through all my years of when I'm working with kids or coming to these events. Did you learn something? And every time somebody says no, I go, okay, I want you to stop right there. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. We're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because when I tell them that, whether it's Norm Duke, Pete Weber, Jason Belmonte, AJ Johnson, whomever I'm working with, even on the ladies' side, Kelly Coolidge, Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, Wendy McPherson, the list goes on and on. We're always looking to learn something because is it something that happened because of their limitations by them? Did they make bad choices? Was it something that was something we need to work on to improve for them?
Yeah.
Is it a mental there's so many things that can be involved with it. You have to take notes and you're like, you know what? Okay, so I learned from this event.
Exactly.
That's what you have to do.
Dave and I were talking earlier about that very subject, and I told him I learned more in that one game I bowled on TV than I think I would bowling an entire event.
Absolutely. And that was probably your first experience, and I know you had Dell and Jimmy and Tim there, and those you guys did great work all week. But how fast did that match on TV go?
I can't even explain to you how fast it went.
You get, I mean,
by the time I even thought of doing something a little bit different, it was already the 7th frame.
By the way, I was sitting home watching. I'm talking to myself, talking to the TV because obviously being a tour for so many years, I'm like, dude, you do this and this and this. But again, not being in there, it's easy for me to critique from where I was, how many thousand miles away in Utah. But the whole thing is things happen so fast, and the same thing's happening now for these kids. Again, the younger ones. Not so much. These older kids, if you get kind of caught in the moment, you're like, oh, I got this rhythm, I got this feel. And next thing you know, you look up and you go, huh, it's the 9th frame of game 2, and this match is almost over. Wow, where'd that go? What happened? And so it's a mental thing, and it's not something you can teach. It's all comes with the experience. And,
exactly.
you know, coming, like you said, Chad, coming from now the U12, and you got the U15, the U20, and each year, and that's what a couple of those kids down there, as good as they are, man, they still got another year. Some of these kids have another year or two in the U12. I'm thinking, man, they're better than some of the U15s already.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
We had a 13-year-old lead the U15 girls.
No kidding.
To make the developmental team.
Okay.
I mean, it would seem bizarre to most, but then when you watch her bowl, it's like, well, she already knows how to bowl.
She throws it pretty good, right?
Would it be this girl right here?
No, she's no. I apologize.
That's all right.
Yeah, standing sheet in front of us, but I met her grandfather. She came up and introduced her grandfather to me. He bowled the FIQ tournament in 1977, and so you've got a former Team USA-er in the family, and now she's made the team.
That's awesome.
For next year, which is pretty cool. Julia Bond popping in there for flush. It looked like she was losing her reaction a little bit.
Yeah, looks like some an adjustment there to the front part of the lane. Got a little bit of angle to it, a little bit better now that her and Paige actually.
Big shot here coming up from Paige.
Kind of burned the spot a little bit.
This match could get pretty interesting here coming down the stretch.
Yeah, and I was just looking at our other match over here, and
Brogan's kind of putting.
It looks like she's got a fairly sizable lead, and
looks good.
And both girls actually made a move in. That was a good pitch, you know, for a wrap 10 there, and you can't be mad about that. Just got to fill the frame and come back and regroup. But we already got some other, exactly what we talked about. Some of these matches down here are already finishing. They're already through their 2 games, and you look down this way, and some of these kids they're in the 4th frame down there. Like game 2, it's just the pace, the speed of play.
Boys got the PBA courtesy.
Oh
with the 3-lane.
Oh
with the 3-lane look going on. Down
I
there.
heard that guy sneeze 14 lanes away. And
Paige makes the spare. What is that? About a 15-pin match, I think.
Oh, that gets her
closer
to
now.
I'm sorry, it's a 5-pin
match now. They both have marks working, one on the strike, one on the spare. So, Chad, and I don't know, again, you have to forgive me for not being a part of this deal. So we've got this condition now tomorrow that seems we've already started with this Athens pattern. Is that pattern going to continue through the rest of the bracket play then?
Yeah,
tomorrow?
It'll move all the way through the bracket play,
All right.
also the TV show. So we'll be on Athens the rest of the way.
Cool deal.
Awesome.
Ooh, nice
that's
shot.
a good shot. And that's another thing that, now, did you guys have TV last year for
We
that?
did not. This is the first time
for
we've
that as
ever
well.
had a TV show. We started working on it a couple years ago.
Okay.
And we made our way to it this year. This will be the first time that Junior Gold's been on a national TV audience. I made a little joke earlier today. I said, boy, do you really think that U12 kid that wins on TV on Friday will really know what that means? And somebody said, no, he's going to be spending a lot of time scared to death when he sees those cameras.
Actually, and it's one of those things that, obviously, AJ, I don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow for the TV shows. And
I'm actually leaving tomorrow morning to go to a regional in Indiana.
Okay, all right. But like myself and there'll be some other people, we'll have Randy here and stuff like that. It'll be one of those things, Chad, that I think we'll be able to pass along some of our knowledge to some of these kids. It's, even though it's, and obviously you were actually on a live show, AJ.
Yeah.
But for the tape delay, I know it's still TV, and it's going to be a completely different feeling when these kids go down and all of a sudden there's a set built. There's going to be some bright lights up above. It's going to change the game a little bit, but, the thing is you just have to, explain to them that, hey, and I'll be the first to tell them, and now. And to this, and we could actually call them right now on the phone if we had to. Pete Weber, Norm Duke, all those guys, they get nervous every time they bowl on TV.
Right.
Yeah, I was just talking to Pete about it earlier this week.
Yeah.
And people go, really? I go, man, I know these guys are living legends, and they're some of the greats of all time. But the whole thing is, if you didn't have run the feeling of emotion, the gamut of emotion when you step up in a telecast, whether it's Pete Weber needing to strike to win the U.S. Open or Norm Duke having to pick the bucket to win the U.S. Open, their heart rates are through their, they're beating in their throat.
Yeah.
They're choked up. They finish and they come talk to me, and then and again, AJ, I haven't worked with you on TV yet. I'm sure it'll happen some point in time, but
yeah.
as I come out and assist as need be. But those guys still to this day, they get done, they come back and they go, Shlem, what just happened? I don't know. I can't feel anything.
Yeah.
And the same thing's going to happen to these kids. And it's going to be a fun time. And I know that, we've got Marshall Holman is in to do the broadcast. And
yeah, when a few months ago when we started, we'd been trying to work out a contract, for air on CBS, and we were going back and forth, and we finally got it, and we started talking about TV crew. And, Marshall was always entertaining. Randy is a great voice for the PBA, and he does a wonderful job, and he makes it entertaining. But we were looking for somebody that, had some historical perspective, as Marshall would.
Yeah.
But also that would probably say something kind of funny, make it a little more entertaining. But also, I think these kids, when they get in that segment tomorrow, and obviously the big kids are going to be ready for it, they're still going to get nervous, just like you just talked about. And it'll be a big deal. There's no doubt about that.
By the way, that was a big double for Paige.
Huge double. She just took the lead by 5.
Yep.
But Marshall will do a nice job, and we're really happy to have him be a part of it. The TV is obviously has a lot of influence with sports. There'll be kids watching that show that don't bowl, and that's a big piece of the top of mind awareness that goes with it. And we're just really excited to have it on TV. It obviously will be a big deal for the kids that are bowling, also their parents, families, but the community's back in their local area too.
Absolutely.
There'll be watch parties that go on that go with
sure.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going back to what you guys were talking about, the kids getting to bowl on TV and the nerves, and some of the greatest of all time still get nervous when they bowl.
Mm-hmm.
When we did the seminar with Hank, Jeff Carter said it perfectly. He said, if you're not nervous, it doesn't mean that much to you.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and I thought about that, and I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And Jeff is another one that's, he won a title. He won the basketball tournament, and me and Jeff are good friends and go back, way back, lived fairly close to each other there back in Southern Illinois. And, it's one of those things that, Jeff was a grinder out there on tour for a large number of years, and Chad, you were tour up out there for a bit, and Jeff was, at one point in time, and I think he still holds the record for average in a season. Or did that get broken?
I think
he still holds it.
Is it?
I'm not sure.
261
but he held it at
point something.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh yeah, this guy's a great bowler. Average 261, and now it had to be easy. And well, it's not easy. I don't care who you are. You can't average 261.
Right.
You have to strategically plan your misses, and he didn't do that. But anyway, his year's bowling on tour, and he's like, dude, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I cut out for this. I said, man. So we keep working. We kept working. And then all of a sudden he popped off. He made 3 shows in a matter of like 6-7 weeks. And he made back-to-back shows. Made a show at the U.S. Open. Made a show then in Woodland the next week in Indy. And it started to get easier. And it's one of those things that you have to, even the guys that are great and they can strike, or girls that can do whatever, there still has to be a level of commitment. And like you said, if you have no emotion, man, you probably shouldn't be here. It's okay. If you're just going through the motions, this is not what you want to do.
Right.
There's other things in life that are more important to you, which is fine. We're not saying anything against that, but it's a matter of what you value and what do you put. What is this purpose?
Exactly.
Brogan Zengel has mathematically eliminated Tyra Sanchez there, so she'll move on to the second round in the winner's bracket. Tyra will move over to the contenders bracket.
Sounds good.
Julia Bond is still a less than 1 mark match here.
This is getting interesting. These are fun matches.
Again, and people say, oh, I heard some people talking as walking through the center. 2 games, it's not 3 games. I'm like, well, and I think it's kind of cool actually, because there's times like when we have the Masters and stuff like that, we have good stuff with some of the 3-game matches. Anything can happen, but I think for the kids, for everything they've gone through this week, and again, a lot of them, I know I was in awe. I mean, I've traveled around the world doing seminars, and I've seen some really big bowling centers. But man, we came in here last Thursday, I'm like, how many lanes is this? And the general manager goes, oh, we got 84 in a row. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know how many parents I saw the first time they walked in this place, their eyes got real big, and I'm thinking, well, that's mom and dad. Wait till the kid sees this. Some of the bowling centers that these kids qualified, they come from, they're 12 lane or 16 lane or 24 lane, and you walk into a center this big with this many people, and just a lot of things going on. So it, Julie actually didn't quite get the right angle there through the front, catches a little high on her. Again, it's a matter of picking up the spare and filling the frame and seeing what Paige can do here in the 10th.
She spare strike. Paige will need a double and 6 to win the match, I believe, if I have that correct. And that is incorrect. She'll need a double and 8, I think.
Perfect. But so like we were talking earlier, as far as the venue and the size, and even some of these other, I didn't make it to all the other centers around this week, and Chad, I don't know if you did, but when you have this big of a center, this many people, there's a wow factor when you walk in and go, holy cow, this is like the real deal.
Yeah.
There was roughly, by count, there was just under 10,000 folks that made the trek here to Chicagoland for Junior Gold. And so at any given time, call it 400 bowlers, time and a half behind it. So 80 lanes going in the 2 divisions. We had just under 2,000 folks in here at a given time.
Mm-hmm.
And that included
the fire marshal.
2 or 3 fire marshals walking around for most of the week.
She picks a spare and she throws the strike. So we get to 352 for a total.
It is 6. So a double and 6 to win.
She's going to need a double and 6 to win. So
I do want to give a little shout out to the fire marshals, because I don't think a lot of people know this, but they were here Monday morning when the storm came in, and they were directly responsible for getting the lights back on as quickly as they did.
That's a beautiful thing.
If those guys weren't here.
And you hear people aggravated and being upset about it, and you look at the end of the day, the odds of a fire or anything crazy happening, not going to happen, but they have jobs to do like we all have our day jobs to do. They're just doing what they're supposed to do, you know. And, for the safety and the betterment of everything. And, again, back when they built this bowling center, I'm pretty sure they didn't say, man, in 2015, you're going to have 2,000 people in here.
Yeah.
And all these kids bowling. Yeah, no, that wasn't on the agenda. And as we saw Paige there, looked like she got a little softwood at the bottom and caught a little hook through the face for 7 count. And that slides her over now into the contenders bracket as we'll get going here the next round here momentarily. We've got a little cleanup work here on the U15. Just kind of fishing out the games and sliding over. And for the most part, around us, it looks like the girls actually have made progress and gotten through their matches.
Guys got about 5 frames left.
And the guys are, just now, yeah, there's looks like a few of those down there that are, like you said, Chad, are only halfway through the second game.
There's a match just to the left of 45 and 6.
Yeah.
Kelly Skalaki, and Giselle Mason, or Jasmine Mason, I believe. Sorry.
Yeah.
That match is getting interesting. Kelly threw first 4, went back-to-back spares, and Jasmine hasn't struck yet. So that match is getting pretty interesting.
It's about a 25-pin match, I believe.
So that changes that game for sure.
AJ, what's coming up for you? How what you said you're bowling a regional this weekend?
Yeah, regional this weekend. Then coming back, there's a couple tournaments around here, and then I'm bowling the PBA 50 doubles. And when Randy was on here earlier, he started licking his chops a little bit. He goes, "Man, if qualifying works out the right way, him and I could get paired to bowl doubles together." And he said, "How awesome would that be?" And I said, "I would enjoy it more. Starting my professional career, getting to bowl with a PBA Hall of Famer right away.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, because that's the event in Hammond, right?
Yes.
Where you guys have to do the qualifying, then you get paired up.
Yes.
I don't want to pull any punches there, but you got Randy, you got Norm, you got Pete
Weber, you got Walter Ray, you got Parker Bone.
Amleto.
Amleto. You got the ageless wonder Tom Baker.
The idea that those guys are seniors is it's a pretty lethal field.
Oh,
So
Brian Leclerc in there now.
Oh yeah.
You got the next wave is coming through. It's pretty amazing, kind of cool when you see what's happening out there on the senior tour.
And after that, I just got summoned by Leanne today to go to New Jersey.
Are you going to Battle Bowl?
I'm going to the Battle Bowl and
Awesome.
bowling the Underground.
Sweet. With me.
With the Birmingham City Bolts. So
Yeah. So do you have a jersey?
it's on its way.
We got your jersey on the way. Awesome.
It's on its way.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about it.
I bowled it last year. The UBA event is pretty cool. And
Who's all on the team?
well, we have a roster that's ginormous. Like everybody in our office at Storm. And then we've added, a lot of our players and stuff like that. But we were the first franchise west of the Mississippi. That organization's now over 4,000 members and growing.
Wow.
But pretty cool deal. But yeah, we'll have some fun up there at the UBA. And as you were talking there before, AJ, we've got Gasmin Mason looks, and she runs into the Greek church right there.
Yeah.
And was it Caitlin? I think is her name. So you had the girl on
Kelly.
top? Kelly. She catches a double there, so that completely changes the tide of that tournament.
Turned around big time.
Flip flopped. Sorry,
from what I understand, Kelly was down, pretty significantly after the first match.
Yeah.
Or first game.
And sorry, folks, we don't have we're not professional camera guys. The three of us here combined, we probably could figure it out, but we'd probably break something in the process. So we'll just fill you in from what we can see. And she almost picks the Greek church.
Picked up the Greek church.
She gets 4 of the 5. And now looking at 112 in the 8th, she's got, what's her total? She's got 357. And you've got
324.
Kelly's got
I've
324
lost on the math, but that match is almost dead even. Right?
Yeah, Kelly's got 324 with a double working into the 8th. With the scoring, that's one thing we've had too. With when you start stringing strikes, it doesn't add to the total. She kind of have to. You got to be good with your calculators for those, or abacus, or whatever you want to, fingers and toes, however you want to do it. But so Chad, you just asked AJ what's on his docket. What's up for you? What's coming next for the executive director of the USBC? You got
moving around the country this summer.
Yeah.
Talking to a few folks.
Yeah,
got
does a strike.
Couple trips coming up. We'll be in the Michigan BCA of Michigan next week. Big group of bowling proprietors. Their summer trade show.
Okay.
Annual meeting. So I'll be up there next week. Headed Saturday to Lubbock for the PWBA, which I'm excited about.
Okay, cool.
So then Sunday to Michigan, be back in town, spend a little time up in Reno, and then most of the next few months is our governance. So we have committees that govern USBC, and every committee will meet sometime in August, September, and October. And I'll sit in most, if not all, of those committee meetings with our volunteers. I think everybody knows it, but we're governed by our volunteers. They work tirelessly, very hard. We love them to death for spending the time that they do. They don't get paid a nickel to better our sport. So we enjoy those. And then we'll fall board meeting. Nice shot.
That's a pretty good shot there, too.
East Coast shows in there. We'll have Women's U.S. Open out at Carolier.
Okay.
Cool. Big Men's U.S. Open in November.
Yeah.
We'll be right there in Garland, which we're looking forward to.
Awesome.
We got a pretty cool announcement coming for that one shortly.
Okay. And so at what point will, in your position or obviously with your crew, will you guys, now obviously next year, Junior Golds in Indianapolis.
It is.
Have you guys already been, making some visits there and already trying to lay that? I'm sure we've already, I know at Storm, we're taking notes here ourselves, and we'll start to get details, and we'll get stuff from you. How soon will you guys be working on that? Is that something that's already happened, or is that something that's coming shortly?
We've got a group coming in to talk, call it third week in August, if you will. But we've already added a center in Indy.
Okay.
Wow.
240 lane beds, less obviously a big shot there.
I believe she just wrapped up that match.
She sure did.
She's just happy she threw a strike. That's
exactly.
Awesome. Even though she's actually one of the older girls, she's like, oh, just got to work on my. She's at the ball return, following through, and she's all right. Just got to throw good shots. Man, actually, she's already flipped that match, and she's moving right along into the winner side of the bracket.
And so just to clean that up a little bit, we'll we'll make those final changes, but 240 lanes less. Woodland pulled out 10, right?
Yeah.
So 230 and then a 40-lane house. So we will have plenty of space for next year. But the really deep planning for next year and beyond, we're going to Indy, then we're going to Cleveland. So an RFP will go out shortly for 19 and 20.
Okay.
And so we'll contract for those centers. Cities coming up. So that's a next big piece of it. The kids from here that make the team this year will be coming in for camp after the first of the year, which obviously is a pretty cool deal.
Yeah.
But Junior Gold's not I know a lot of folks talk about it pretty intently the last 3 years. It's amazing, all the conversation, but it's amazing because it only really takes place for the week of Junior Gold and the week after, and then everybody else leaves it. Where it's 24/7 for us all year long. Qualifiers for the 2016 event in Indy have already started. The year starts in June. It runs for 15 months, so find a local qualifier in your area. If you're interested in run a qualifier in your area, give Cindy and Vicki Dennis at the campus a call, and they'll set you up to do it.
Okay. And do we have, I don't know if you know by chance the contact info for that, or call them or email them, or what would be a way if there's somebody out there watching that wants to run the qualifier deal?
See Eagle at ibcuyouth.com or V Dennis, the same, or you can call the bowling campus at 800-626-BOWL.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Chad. And that's one of those things that, and I'm sure there's still plenty of people. It's amazing that how many folks we've met, run into this week from both youth and parents that this is their first experience. Yeah, hey, it's my first time here. Some of them are like, I've been coming for a couple years now. It's no big deal. But for every one of those, there's five or 10 new ones like, this is the first time. Man, we're excited. We got to get back here next year, and it's a really cool deal.
Yeah, folks ask, why is it growing? What's the trick? And when you really look inside of it, most tournaments, activations, membership, customers, brand positions, you'll have folks leave and you'll have folks come in. The difference with Junior Gold right now is we're pretty much retaining everybody. And so all the new bowlers that are coming into it, it's pure growth. And so that's really why it's getting bigger. The only kids that we're really losing are the ones that age out and move into our adult leagues and maybe collegiate bowling. But, what's it going to look like a year from now? Probably some more kids, a few more growth positions. We're not going to – the kids that joined it, this year, and there were a lot of new people here this year from the Chicagoland area, Milwaukee, folks like Maryville, St. Paul, because it was up here in the Chicagoland area, they're coming back. They had a great experience, and so they're going to want to come back, and there'll be a new group that joins it again. So
awesome.
We expect a little more growth next year. Of course, not as much growth as we had this year, but it would be great if it happened again.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly what you said, too, and it's, even with really it comes back to the parents and the kids both that are expressing their how much fun they had and what was kind of cool. And, whether you got to hit wiffle balls off of Pete Weber and A.J. Johnson or you came and you bowled and you're like, you know what, I have to get better for next year because I want to make your goals for each year. And A.J., you bowled this for a few years, correct?
I bowled it 4 years.
And so I'm guessing you just didn't walk in the first year like, man, I'm going to win this thing.
Absolutely
you had
not.
to kind of.
Actually, he probably did.
He might have. He might be one of those guys.
Oh no!
But
no
when you have to kind of formulate a plan, and we have all the qualifiers and all the different organizations across the country, but being able to, man, I have to get to what's my target for this year? Oh, I want to get to the top 200. Oh, I want to get to the top whatever. I want to make the cut. Oh, I want to make it to the match play.
Right.
It's kind of one of those things you have to kind of build some goals and kind of ramp up to it. And you yourself with you're the veteran of this group.
Yeah.
Is that what you did yourself? Did you target some goals and set some parameters and stuff to work on? Or
always.
Okay.
Always.
And how did you go about it?
I had goals every time I came to bowl this event as a youth. Of course, ever since a little kid, I always wanted to bowl for Team USA. And I think everybody bowling this event has that same goal. Now, how you go about it is a little bit differently. I set goals, or I want to make the cut, and then I want to make the second cut. Now I want to make match play, and then once things kind of start to fall into place and you feel yourself kind of getting better over the years that as you're bowling this event, you kind of start to see those events get realistic, or those goals get realistic.
Gotcha.
And I actually I bowled terrible my first year of this, because it was, like you said, you walk into this tournament and not expecting much, and you see how big it is, and then you see the kids that get announced for Junior Team USA before you start your blocks, and you're like, oh my God, I want to be that. That's where I want. And you're just overwhelmed by the event and how big and the prestige of it. The year before I won, I went 230 under the first day, and wanted to go home right away. I told my dad, I said, find the next flight out of here. I don't want anything to do with it.
And what year was this then?
This was 2011.
This was your first year?
Second year.
Second year, okay.
And
where were you guys at? Were you?
Vegas.
Okay.
We were in Las Vegas. And I never felt so prepared before an event than to get there and have everything just kind of blow up. It takes a lot out of you. So, and I met a guy who is a known tour guide, Todd Book. Made a few shows, has got a few titles.
Got some regional titles, yeah.
Yeah. He kind of talked to me after that night and told me that he would be there the rest of the week. And I went from 900th place after the first day to the top 90 at the end of the week. And
That's good progress.
Yeah, it's just a little.
Nice.
It was just small things like that, meeting somebody, having a conversation with the guys that help you, that work with you, talking with my parents afterwards. You just kind of you see the whole switch of mind frame, and you forget about what happened the day before, and you just move forward. You set goals not only for the week but for each individual day, and almost think of it as each day as a new tournament.
Correct.
And it did wonders for me, and then to follow it up the following year by winning was
That's
tremendous.
Awesome. What's funny is a story along that same line is Cameron Doyle. Those guys finally got done down there, and Cameron walks by me and I go, hey, how'd you do? He goes, I said, what'd you finish the last game? He goes, I shot 260. I go, yeah, that's pretty good. He goes, dude, I was in 400th place. I'm in third.
Yeah.
I go, would you go practice between squads, or what'd you do? And he started laughing. Obviously, Cameron's one of our child prodigies on this planet when it comes to the sport of bowling. But, example of, he could have easily talked himself out of it being in 400, knowing what his talent level is. And obviously, he actually won the adult version, a regular Team USA.
Yeah.
Beat some pretty hefty names. Chris Barnes, Tommy Jones, Bill O'Neill.
Yeah.
And now bowling this deal, he's still a kid. And he could have easily said, man, I'm in 400th, man, what am I doing? But he buckled down and, boom, climbed his way to third. And that just shows that, the fortitude's there. And, it is what it is.
Yeah, he's just an incredible talent. He's obviously been able to gain some experience by bowling some things that a normal, 14, 15-year-old wouldn't be bowling.
Right.
But he's also been kind of the anchor, the rock of our junior Team USA the last few years too. He struck out to win a gold medal in team event in the World Championships, which was pretty awesome. But that's the cool part about competition. Right?
Yeah.
The more you do it, the more you get comfortable. I love what you said earlier about setting the goals, because the goals don't have to be, these grand things to begin with.
Right.
I want to make a cut. I want to win a match.
I mean,
I want to move forward.
Yeah.
And
it's
stepstones.
This type of deal it's not a comparison to like the PBA Tour or, Prodigy in golf, where you're going to go out like, man, I'm going to go to the PGA Tour and I'm going to,
I'm going to win the Masters in the U.S. Open.
I'm going to do
21 years old.
Do what I do, and you can go out and grind it. Junior Gold happens once a year, and you have your qualifiers, you have your local junior tournaments. There's junior tournament organizations and travel leagues and all this stuff around the country, and actually even around the globe, because obviously we've got kids here from Puerto Rico and some other aspects that are channeled into this deal. Yeah. But you only get exposed to this once a year. You can't just go, man, I'm going to win that, and then the next year walk out and do it.
Right.
It took you 3 years.
Yeah.
And by the way, you just led the USBC Masters, and you're now on the PBA Tour. dude, that just didn't happen overnight.
No.
It took you a few years.
Definitely.
And, so and that's a great story, and that's why we wanted to make sure we had you here as a master of Storm, because you're direct, and that was one of the things that I brought up, being someone who can associate to the kids, being so shortly removed from it, and say, hey, this is what happened. If you were to tell some of these kids down there who are excited to meet you and got your autograph, and say, hey, my first one, I was here, they'd be like, well, dude, I finished better in my first one than A.J. Johnson.
Exactly.
That gives them a whole new sense of perspective on things, and it kind of builds it up. So that's kind of cool. And like I said, A.J., we're glad that you were able to come out and help us out this week. And and Chad, I don't know what you got going on. If you want to shake out for.
Yeah, I'm going to shake out. I just wanted to say thanks for having me. We appreciate Storm and the
thanks for stopping
sponsorship. Love that you guys are here this week. AJ, love it that you're here. I know former champion stopping in, but it's going to be a great day tomorrow. Hopefully everybody will tune in. But again, we just couldn't be more happy than to have Storm, Master, and Rotogrip as our presenting sponsor. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
We're honored to be a part of it, and thanks, Chad, for all you and the USBC have done. And we're looking forward to making this thing grow, man.
Just keep doing it, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Have a good night. So, AJ and I will take the helm as we as the matches are now moving. We don't have names quite up yet, but the girls right here around us have now moved. We'll sew this thing up. We'll have actually, and I'm guessing these two girls would be on the contenders bracket here in the U20. And I don't know if both these girls won here in the U15 to our right. We'll have to wait and see what comes up here. And I know some of you guys are talking about some stuff here in the chat, and we appreciate it. You just you guys kind of stay cool. Unfortunately, where we're sitting, we're back off the concourse a little bit. We don't have vision to all the different. We can't see all the scores, and they don't have a scrolling scoreboard, unfortunately, with this many kids and with the volunteers. So we appreciate y'all tuning in and checking things out. Wish we had more numbers on who won what match and who did what, but unfortunately we don't have that. But we can, just kind of fill you in what we can see and talk about Junior Gold and what this is all about. And sliding into the spot to my left now, I've got. Do you know this guy, AJ? Some guy just randomly walked up and
he looks familiar.
He looks familiar. He's like that one guy that we saw at that one place.
Yeah.
Gary Holstenberg on the show, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Some of
Gary?
you may know his wife a little bit more famously.
Yes.
Leanne Barrett
No, it's not a little bit, Lee. It's more solely.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And actually, I'll tell you what it is. So we have Leanne, we have Barrett, we have Gary.
No, we have Tahoe.
Oh, Tahoe. The dog's even in there. Above
Retriever.
Gary. People know how that family ranks.
Yep.
But we love you. We love you, Gary.
Thanks,
man. We've got some good insight from Chad, and we're talking about the growth of this tournament and some stuff coming from USBC, be announcing here soon.
Cool.
The kids are already, the funny thing is, 15-month window, the kids are already qualifying for 2016. Things are really on the up and up, and he said they actually added a center in Indianapolis to accommodate lane beds, and so we'll be able to kind of he said, be some stuff, some cool stuff happening. He couldn't divulge any secrets.
Sure.
Just like I couldn't tell him any secrets of what we got going on at Storm and other stuff. But But no, it was good, productive talk the whole way through, and getting some insight. Just even Chad and I both had our past experiences from when we first started attending Junior Gold, and where it was then and what it's morphed into and grown to now, and how it's an amazing event. And to the other side here, we've got AJ. We've talked anything from his tour life to really how his setting goals and trying to achieve something, because this tournament, some of these kids come old, it's their first time here. This tournament only happens once a year. It's not like you can practice, in a couple weeks. Hey, man, I'm gonna hit this tournament, Junior Gold. I'm gonna wreck them next month or in 3 months. No. Nope, you have to wait the whole calendar year.
Exactly.
And so, and AJ and his, like he told us, he's explaining the story. It took him 3 years. You won the third year.
I won my third year.
Based on how he finished the first year, he knew that he wanted to be on Junior Team USA, and he worked at it. It took him 3 years to get there. And
I know.
By the way,
I heard the story in their seminar with Hank.
Yeah. Okay. You were down there.
I was talking about you earlier today because I was explaining how great you've been at this tournament and how proud we are to have you on our Storm team, because you have given all these kids kind of your playbook. You basically, if they have a question, you answered it for them and went into detail of how you won this championship in 2012, and I think you have made a lot of fans this week.
Well, I hope so, because I only saw my name, I think, on 3 bowlers as their favorite bowler. So I'm trying to become a more favorite.
Yeah, we got to get you working on that, dude.
Yeah.
We got to get you got your fan page driving, and got to get.
Well, for anyone that's out there listening, if you ever get an opportunity to meet Mr. AJ, you will quickly become a big fan. He's a good kid. He's not a kid. He's a man. You're a man, baby.
Well, I thank you guys very much for that. I really do appreciate it. Having me a part of the event this week has still made me feel a part of it. I can't thank you guys enough for not only having me here, but on the Team Storm, Roto, Master, all that good stuff. I've been very fortunate to be a part of this company that, you know, it eases a lot of things when you know you have one of the best companies behind you, no matter what.
Absolutely, and it's, you know, as we like to refer to ourselves, you know, we are the bowlers company, but and Gary can attest to this, and I've been with the company now, one of the longest tenured people that are out. You know, I've been with the company now 14 years, and it's we actually have what we like to call the Storm family.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And we're proud to have you a part of that family. And, yeah, it's, you know, for the betterment of bowling, and how do we, you know, again, like we were talking to Chad, how do we make things better? How do we grow it? How do we do this? How do we do that? And, you know, hey, we're going to do what we can. We've learned a lot this week, and I know some of us getting back into this mix of I haven't been myself to a junior gold in a while, but, you know, we've made some pretty good experiences, and, you know, we're going to – how do we enhance that? Gary's putting it, how do we enhance that for next year? And that's going to be our goal. So,
my last junior gold was 2012. AJ, do you remember 2012?
I remember 2012. That was
who won that year?
I think that was the year I got the ticket.
Yeah,
that was my year.
That was the last time I was there, so that was really cool.
As we're watching the girls here in front of us, we're down to just a few seconds left in practice. Again, we've got a mix of contenders and winners in the bracket here in front of us. We'll share what we can see. And I know some of you were watching the scrolling board over here on the monitor. Again, the scores on bowl.com, I really don't know. I know they're trying their best to kind of get it all tallied and keeping up with it.
Well, we've got a featured pair here, right, in front of us?
We've got 2 featured pairs right here.
15 and under and the U20.
We got U20.
Yeah, we got some great bowlers in front of us this game.
Yeah, so we've talked about lane play with the girls to the boys, and how the girls kind of keep it in play. And again, with it, we're actually bowling a 40-foot Athens pattern. A lot of these girls are using the bigger balls with some surface, keeping their angles in front of them. Kind of what we like to call on the tour, trapping a lane a little bit, keeping your angles closed. And it's really kind of just more of a natural type deal for the girls due to the rev rates and tiltants and how they play the lanes. You know, as compared to down there on the other end where the guys have a tendency to, as soon as they see their ball hook once, it's like, oh, I got to step at it 3 arrows left and try and hook it for all it's worth. Not necessarily playing the pattern or the lane of what it's, you know, trying to share to them. But, as we got here, we've got Kayla Crawford.
And Jasmine Mason.
And Jasmine Mason here on the U20. And
Jasmine Mason, a reigning Junior Team USA member. And
all right.
Just won a national title with Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
So we've
and she
got a
can
little
bowl.
bit of talent. Yes, she can.
Beautiful.
She had the front 10 earlier today, and her 11th was pretty good too, just didn't strike.
Okay.
But that was on a different pattern. Same building, just different pattern.
Same building, different pattern, yeah. And I do have to share, it's one of those things, too, with some of these kids. In case you're keeping score at home, if you happen to look down at your wristwatch or click on your cell phone, it's 20 after 11 here in the Central Standard Time. Some of these kids are getting tired.
Yeah.
They've had a few days, and I know there's some dragon parents sitting back behind us watching as well.
That seminar that Hank and all of us put on earlier is really starting to come forward with with this and the keeping the body right and fueling it the right way for this week for these long days. I think they started bowling this morning at 7:30.
Yeah, and that's what the first tee time is tomorrow morning as well.
And
it's
they're
7:30
still
a.m.
bowling now.
Yeah, and when this match ends, it's going to be close to midnight.
Yeah.
And for some of these contestants, it's boom, backing at it. 7:30 means you have to be here by 7, which means you got to get up at 5:15. You know, because again, we're in Chicago. You got to watch out for traffic based on where your hotel is, and there's a lot of all these things come in. But so yeah, it's one of those things. It's a test. Testament. Yeah, mentally, physically, emotionally, because there's, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of kids. Man, I'm hungry. I'm tired. My feet hurt. But hey, they're sucking it up because they want to be a part of Team USA. And I was talking to one of the dads earlier before this round started, and so I found out the Worlds are actually in the United States. The Worlds are in Nebraska this next year. So that's the key thing of trying to make Team USA this year to get into that. It'll be the play-in and get going on that. So
U15, Candace Bradley against, I think I saw Jalen Honan, if I pronounce that right.
That looks like we just read the back of her jersey. That's what we got because we can't see her name on the screen yet. But, you know, and it's one of those things, now we're catching some transition. We've now already had a 2-game match on these pairs. So, again, these girls come over. They get their practice, some shuffling of balls. You know, did their same plan of attack work from the previous pair on this pair? Do they have to move? Did they have to change balls? So we'll see who makes some adjustments. And
that's a real nice shot by Candace.
Candace there in the over
She
here.
does it well.
10 back. Bam.
Looking like she and the same thing we noticed on this pair, 47-48, the girls towards the middle end of the second game had to start chasing the left because they kind of broke down the spot to the right. Not a huge step, but, you know, they had to move a few boards and kind of create a little bit of angle to it because they built some friction in there. So we'll see how these girls transition to it. And it looks like they're also moved in. And Jasmine actually threw a good pitch there for a 4-pin. You know, she's you're right. She throws it pretty good, just trying to figure it out. And I tell you what, it's pretty cool watching the talent. And I know we've said it before numerous times. The future of our sport, and we're sitting here with the female side, and I know the male side. There's some unbelievable talent that is going to be coming in the years to come. That is really cool, and what's awesome about that too, especially for these girls, is there's now a PWBA tour again, so they now have something to aspire and want to be. You know, not only like you, AJ, you know, hey, I want to win junior gold, I want to be in junior Team USA, and then your next step was, I want to bowl the PBA tour, I want to be a PBA tour title. These girls didn't have that, and now they do. The PWBA tour is back, and you know, last week, first-time champion Alicia Current, a Rotogrip staffer. You know, she wins her first title in Sacramento, so that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
And you know, she's also a coach of a college program, so that gives her help too. Just with her girls on her team, she's like, hey, by the way, I just want to win a title. What do you guys got going on?
Exactly.
But it's cool, and now these girls can look up to girls like Alicia, and you know, obviously some of the living legends of the female side, like a Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, or Gary's wife, Leanne Barrett Holzenberg, or
Jalen just struck for a 3-bag.
Kelly Kulik, or you know, Missy Parkin, or some of these girls that have, you know, been around that, you know, they bowl against the guys, but it's one of those things. It's really cool that we've got the ladies tour, and now these girls are.
Yeah, it's great for them. When they announced that, I couldn't have been
super
happier.
Awesome. And obviously the excitement's come full circle now that they've had to expand the fields because there's so many girls that want to bowl.
Sold
they go,
out.
Yeah, so they started adding spots, so that's kind of cool too. So, and so
it's a pretty good match to the left of our featured pair in the U20. Kelly Skolacki from Weber International. She shot 250 in the second game of her first match to come back and win, and she's bowling past champion Brianna Clemmer. So that match could get pretty interesting. Whether it's the end of this game and going into the second game, that'll be a fun match to watch.
Beautiful.
Well, you were talking about the future of our sport. I was in Stardust the first couple of days of qualifying.
Yeah.
And I was watching the U15 and the U12. And I wasn't worried about the score or standings or anything like that. I was just watching them bowl. I was thoroughly impressed by some of these kids.
It's amazing.
It was amazing. Exactly. I couldn't believe the talent of these young kids. And all I could think of was, wow, I wish I threw it like that when I was 12.
And think about and here you are. You're fresh off just a few years ago winning this event and being on Junior Team USA. Think about if this was at the level that we're at now. If you go back when you were 12, this is way before.
Amazing.
I know you're 16 now. I'm just kidding.
16. 16 going on 30.
How old are you now? You're
I'm
actually
22.
You're 22. So yeah, think about that. So 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Think about. I mean, some of these kids, like Chad was saying earlier, they've got their aspirations. I mean, it's a step-by-step process getting to, basically we're grooming the kids to get to winning a national title or winning gold medals around the world. This is awesome. And let's see what we got going on over here. We've got Jalen actually has the front four.
Yeah.
So obviously, Candace trying to kind of navigate things, check things out, and she converts a spare there, back-to-back spares, and you see a determination on her face. She's not giving up. It's all too often we see kids that kind of throwing a towel, but getting to this level and working so hard to get here. Yeah, definitely making the effort.
Jasmine with a quick double.
And she walks back ho hum.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, if she's been there before, she knows what's going on. So.
Yeah.
Kayla's throwing two different balls, I think, on this.
I was just going to notice that because she went Crux Pearl on the left lane. It looked like that's Hypercell there on the right lane. So I don't know if it's a ball change or.
No, she threw this on the right lane last time.
Okay.
Yep.
And she's got spared double. So
she went Brooklyn, I think.
she's working it that way. And
Jalen's got the front five now.
And again, she's just kind of going through the motions. She's been there before. She knows what's up.
I might be partial, but I like Jalen's jersey. It says Storm on it.
All right. I thought because it was pink. I thought that was all you were going to say. Oh, I like that jersey.
I like the pink.
Yeah,
it's good.
Gary. If anybody who knows Gary, he's a colorful character.
Oh, I'm a fashionista.
Yeah.
Boy.
That is definite. I'm not going to argue that.
Let's see if she can turn it into a six-bagger here.
Here's the windup and the pitch. Just a bit outside. And Gary gives her the cloud.
Yep.
So we've got the 7 count, and obviously that's making the adjustment, pick the spare. It looks like she just her timing got a little out of whack, and the ball got away from her body a little bit. But
hey, can I tell a story that's unrelated to anything going on right now?
Okay, this is a family show.
It is a family story.
Okay.
You remember our little buddy Cameron in the U12 that threw that? He needed a mark to win his match earlier.
Yeah.
And he struck.
Yeah.
And he got all excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went over to bowl the Survivor tournament, even though he's not kicked out of this yet, because he's still coming back tomorrow to bowl this.
Yeah.
So he went to bowl a spot at the Survivor tournament. 300 tonight.
No kidding.
Wow.
And they're hard over there.
They're not easy.
They're hard.
And that's the whole thing of he's still in this tournament. He's still in the winner's bracket.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm going to bowl the other tournament too.
He loves it. Doug Kent was telling me he'll come in and bowl every single day. He comes in. Doug Kent kind of helps him out at his center and stuff.
Well, that kid's obviously in good hands then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Oh, yeah. With the lucky touch of the 10. To keep this close match.
I was talking to Rhino earlier, and he was watching Cam. And just an amazing story of him and bowling. I think I'd heard he's bowling with a mask on.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. It's incredible.
He has a blood disorder that he's fighting through right now. And so actually this week, I think they said Wednesday or Tuesday, he had to get a transfusion.
Wow.
A blood transfusion.
Wow.
Right after a competition. Like he finished competition, had to go to the hospital. He has to do it about every 7 days. This is the gentleman that went and bowled 300 nights.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say.
He's in the U12, so he's less than 12.
Yeah.
He's a little guy. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep. And he wears the mask because he's very susceptible to catching a cold, and a cold could be really trouble.
Yeah.
All right.
What an amazing story. And he threw a strike on the 10th to win a match, and he turned around and did the PDW.
Yeah.
Well, that's
crotch chop.
although that's retired.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard that story many times this week.
Yeah.
And just like the whole sunglasses thing, and you got to remember Pete's a grandpa. He's not getting any younger. But it's one of those things that he retired that, and he's got the Superman punch. He got some other stuff.
Yeah.
So the question is, now we have to throw to AJ. Is AJ? Do you have AJ's kind of your nickname? Do we have a persona? Do we have a catchphrase from you? Do we have anything that's in the works for your next telecast? Or because like we talked about before, you led the Masters. You make the show. And next thing you know, you looked up and you're like, it's the 7th frame. I'm trailing. And then you blink to your eyes again and you're like, I'm done. But I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah.
So.
I'm slowly but surely trying to think of things.
Okay.
I think creating a personality for TV is great.
Yeah, it's persona.
He's the Shark. He told me earlier his nickname is the Shark.
Yeah,
The Shark.
my college teammates
You play cards or something?
No.
Shoot pool?
No,
How did you get the Shark then?
This nickname came up, and it wasn't even for me. It's my college teammates. They.
You don't even have like a mohawk or anything. Like,
no.
You don't have
it's
a
just a little spike right here, right in front.
All right.
And my college teammates kind of threw it on me because my sophomore year of college, we made a run at the intercollegiate team championships and bowled on TV against Robert Morris. We ended up finishing second, but it was a great season. But I got the nickname because my teammates told me that as long as they did what they could do to set up the 10th frame, and any time they gave me a chance in the 10th frame to win a match, they knew that we had it. So they kind of came up with you smell blood in the water, and the shark comes around and takes advantage of it.
All right.
And I kind of took to it, and I'm like, well, that's awesome. I love it. So anytime that we either get in the 10th, or we get to the 10th frame, we need to win a match, or somebody in a Baker game or in a team, the team games, if we all strike and one person spares, and you get hung, when I go up to bowl as the anchor spot, they put their hand up like a shark fin.
All right, so I like it. So we now got a shark on staff. We got a rhino. Hell, we might as well see if we can get Animal Planet involved.
I hope we get
Team
like
Storm.
a zebra. And
Team
a
Storm.
giraffe.
We need a zebra.
Zebra and a giraffe.
I want to be the walrus.
Well, we got Belmo.
Actually, I'm the hippo.
You got Belmo from Australia. You got a kangaroo.
Yeah, we do have the two-handed kangaroo. We've got a shark. We've got a rhino.
Another really good shot by Miss Candace.
And actually, it's one of those things. Jalen has a pretty sizable lead, but it's one of those things that we saw in the match earlier. AJ, we were watching that. Man, if Candace gets lined up and if things go haywire for Jalen, this match could turn because it's two game total pins.
Yeah, and we saw it earlier. Anything can happen going into the second game.
And we've got a 9-pin match over here in the U20. And you're right, Gary. We got Kayla actually using different balls on each lane, and seems to be having a struggle here trying to navigate through it. But she got 125, 7-up, 3-6-10. And so we'll see if she can knock this down and keep this match flowing and keep it rolling the right way for her.
I think she's going to make it.
You think so?
I am. Although I'm feeling very positive because I love watching all these kids bowl. I'm having so much fun here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Cleans it up, no problem.
Yep.
No cloud.
Been there, done that. Yeah,
Perfect.
all right.
They're bowling on the master pair.
It is the master pair.
The master puff balls. The famous master puff balls.
Don't even get me started on those things.
You love them?
I love the Storm ones because they don't throw rosin everywhere. But for the guys, like we have guys on our team that love those things.
Yeah.
And for the guys that love to use a ton of rosin and don't like using the powdered stuff from the bag, it's perfect for them. But the guys that don't like it, it just throws rosin. You get that cloud.
Yeah.
You get the rosin
Also
boogers.
and
I'm bringing an extra large one to the UVA event that we're all going to bowl in August.
And we found out, just found out AJ is going to join us, so that's going to be a fun time. So it's going to be pretty cool. We'll have to get like a basketball sized or beach ball sized
a beach ball sized
puff ball. That'd be great. And Jasmine here stepping up striking, so that swings the match. It's still within a few pins. Here in the U20, here in the U15.
But I think I'm drawn to the Storm ones more because they smell good.
Yeah. Yeah, the Storm ones have the scent.
Yeah.
And the Master Puffballs do not, but they have that really cool material and they're all hand sewn in California, so they got that beach fragrance vibe coming.
Then we have the
2 different colors.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I got to throw in my brand, the Rotogrip side. We've got the cute little Rotogrip squares.
Yeah, they're little tiny itty bitty squares.
And you know what? The cool thing is, a lot of people put them in their hand and they're like, oh, this fits my hand really good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the in-between as well. It doesn't smell like the Storm one. It's not the big puff ball that we have on the Master side. It's kind of in between, different. Yeah. So again, we between our 3 brands, we got a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
And cleaning up the washout conversion there is Jalen, and she's like, yeah, I got this, no worries.
I like her chances. She's making some pretty good shots, and she's picking up some pretty not so easy spares.
She's showing an IQ tornado tonight. And she's using a Master Puffball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The famous blue and white one. I've seen so many of those blue and white ones. I don't think they can make enough of them.
Yeah, they make them constantly. they never stop making them at Master. It's awesome. Look at that 10 back.
5 flush for 10 back.
She's in the 220s.
Yeah, in the 220s, looking at potential 230.
I want to see Miss Kayla over here. She's making the ball change.
On the right lane.
She's going with the Crux Pearl instead of the Hypercell. Think this is going to be good? You like it?
I think so. It looks like she's making another move in. It's one of those deals that, again, that we talked about. We've already had 2 games. We're already almost through, and then they get to practice to warm up, and now we're actually almost to the end of game 3. So the transition's happening, even for the girls, even though they don't have the big rev rate. And she makes a move in a little bit more and not quite enough push.
I think they're starting to see that transition.
It needs to be a little further right at the break point. Maybe.
Yep. But the thing is, also with her rev rate and her tilt and roll, it's a matter of how can she get her angles doing the right thing. She's going to – looks like she's kind of fishing it out, and she'll get it figured out here pretty quick.
It's bowling a good game.
Yeah.
143 in the 7th.
Yeah.
So that's a solid game. Remember, this isn't house shot bowling. This is a very demanding pattern.
Yeah. In a very demanding house. I've bowled in this center numerous times.
Is this a tricky house, AJ?
It's very tricky because these lanes are fairly new, but they hook a lot more than what you would see from a pro anvil lane, or what you would anticipate. The fronts and the middle start to go pretty quickly in here. So these bowlers have had to be very mindful of what their ball is doing in the front part of the lane.
And that's really just, for those of you that want to get technical, that's just the kind of nature of the beast whenever you put synthetic over wood.
Yep.
Based on the number of cuts and the way the topography was underneath it. We've seen it all too often on the PBA tour and other levels when we got a brand new surface, and based on how their example is Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis, they put pro anvil lane in, and we come in like, oh, they're not going to hook as much, it's going to be a lot tighter, and we came in and the hook guys ran them over that week. We're like, well, it looks like you can still hook in this building the very first time. So
I
it
like
just kind of happens. Yeah. And
fantastic shot by Kayla. On the
late tap on the 10.
Late tap on the left 10. Lane. Foundation frame. She's got 223 potential this game.
Beautiful.
Very close match.
Jalen over to our right, went 9 spare in the second one for 225. So she looks like she's going to have a pretty
sizable lead.
Yeah, a pretty substantial lead going into the second one. Candace shooting 158. She got a little bit of ground to make up, but like you said earlier, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. It looks like Jasmine was actually, I think that's a disturbed. If I was looking at it when she was holding there by the ball return. Pretty good reaction right there. Kind of a shake miss 7, so she'll have the spare to knock it down to keep the match in hand by a little bit. So is that the case, or as we're all kind of staring, trying to see the labels and logos and whatnot from our our not so bird's eye view back here off the concourse a little bit, but so AJ, I'll throw this one to you. Have you? You haven't gotten the new Rotogrip balls yet, but have you thrown the latest Storm balls? Have you thrown the Optimus Solid and Skyrocket?
I have, and I gotta say, I'm
what
pretty
is your
impressed.
opinion of those?
I think we're starting to see a little bit of a transition with the companies, and they're definitely going in the right direction. The Optimus Solid for me, for those that bowl on stuff with a little bit more oil, a little bit longer patterns, gives you that clean front part look, but still picks up in the middle and doesn't overturn down lane.
Gotcha.
It's very smooth.
Okay.
But with the with that Optimus core that it has, it still makes the corner down lane. It continues more than what we've seen.
And that's going to be also depending on how you drill as well, because even though it's a symmetrical core, it's low RG, high diff with with the prongs and how they sit together. That core can actually, depending on how you drill, it can act more like an asymmetric sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Due to the mass and the way it's dispersed in there.
The Skyrocket though is probably one of my favorites right now.
Really?
Yeah. When the lanes start to transition, I got to start chasing it left. It's one of my favorite ones to go to right now.
Okay.
Because it's real clean, and it gets through the front and the middle so easily, and it still recovers better than most down lane.
But it doesn't go sideways.
But it doesn't go sideways. Exactly.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
A lot of times, when especially in college, me just graduating, we start to get to the point where we got to get up against the ball return, up in front of the ball return, and
that happens a lot in college tournaments.
Yes, it does.
I have to do that in league due to my high rev rate.
Oh, okay.
His high rev rate, little hands.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so
back to the real story.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch,
we found ourselves trying to scrummage to find a bowling ball that would be useful for us at that point in the tournament, because we could find the ones that were clean enough through the front and the middle, but would never get around it in the back to get the corners out.
Or they were too strong off of it.
Exactly.
Or if you found the one, we need to get strong, but then you can't get it through the front. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it's a constant battle, especially I've watched some of those college tournaments over the years, and with the balls. And again, you get all the rev rates, just like on tour, you get the rev rates, you get the guys.
Definitely.
A lot of times a lot of schools have what I like to call is the school tradition of how they throw it, and obviously they the kids that are in that program tend to throw it a certain way, and the coach has beliefs and their knowledge and how they're going to do things, and you start breaking them down certain ways, and man, then you cross traffic with some of the other schools, and next thing you know, you're a couple games in, you guys are, well, like you said, in front of the ball return, you're hucking urethane, hoping that it stays right of the head pin, or you're doing this, and it can get nasty.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
I was talking earlier it was either Randy or Dave, and I was talking about one of the first college tournaments, the first sectional as a freshman, and at the end of the first day, I was throwing the ball to the rangefinders, just to give you an idea how nasty they can get in college.
The rangefinders, which those would be the spots down by the
Getting
scanners.
Close to the pins.
Yeah.
Down by the scanners that keep your score.
Yeah.
That
Somewhere
read the
around
pins.
40 feet.
Yeah, about 40 feet down lane.
That's a good
and
shot.
That's
right
a pretty
there.
good pitch, but again, that lane seems to be hooking a little bit, and she's trying to make some moves, but
she threw that one really good, and she's surprised that one jumped on her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it.
That
but
lane
again,
48.
transitions this late in the game. We're at the end of game 3 on this pattern right now. And as we got over here in the U15, we've got Candace and Jalen. They're filling frames, and again, Jalen's kind of got a sizable lead, and she's not to say she's coasting, but she's still got to maintain focus and fill frames. And so we're looking at 213 to 191 here for
Close game?
for
20 pins, 22.
yeah,
huh?
Kayla to Jasmine. So we'll see what happens as again, anything's possible. Whole another match to go.
So can I ask? It's time for Gary's silly question.
Gary's trick question coming from
Every
coming
15
from left field.
minutes, I get to throw a question up. I want to get your perspective. AJ, you go first, then Shlomi, you answer. What was your favorite part of this week? have you had a favorite part of the whole Junior Gold experience?
That's a tough question. Well, other than the beginning of the week, doing the seminars, mingling with everybody, the chaos of registration, and then having the day in the park, I think my favorite part was watching all day of qualifying Monday and Tuesday and seeing the talent level of the under 12 and under 15 divisions and just kind of looking to myself, wow, the future of our sport is
awesome.
Bright.
Yeah.
I think that was, for me, that was more fun, or not necessarily fun, but impressing to me about this week. I was taken back a little bit by it.
Shalem?
So this trick question is brought to you by Gary Olsenberg.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it's one of those things that, with registration, I've been a part of those before, and, we, and AJ, you were downstairs in the seminar part, but we had, our staffers signing a lot of autographs. They signed nonstop, and
6 hours.
just 6 hours, pretty much. We're barely getting a squeeze in and a few bathroom breaks. But I have to say, honestly, I think it was kind of cool, and the fact that we did the day at the park, because I don't know how many people, the parents were pumped as much as the kids that, Norm was actually fighting an injury. AJ, you were out there, and Rhino and Wes Milan and Pete Weber. Carolyn. And like you said,
Randy.
kids and Randy Peterson, the kids and parents getting to see all you guys outside of a bowling center, because there's so many times that you catch them in passing in the hotel, or you happen to be out to dinner, like you kind of spot, hey, that's so and so. I've seen them before, but we were hanging out, we were just kind of doing what we were playing wiffle ball, and we had cornhole going and footballs and soccer, and I think looking around, being a part of that, and looking the number of people that came out there, it was exactly what we talked about at Storm, Gary. It was part of the experience.
Yeah.
And it looks like Kayla made a ball change there, a little bit more direct. It looked like she balled down. Again, a little jumpy, but she let her control she got it closer to the pocket.
That was much better. That read
she's
the lane good.
Still a few more to move, honestly. It's because there is that much friction on that right lane for her, so it's a matter of how long it takes her to get to that zone. So
I think you're right. That day in the park was different.
Absolutely.
Than what they've experienced before with this event. They didn't have that when I bowled, and I think that would have been a lot.
Yeah.
That would have been a lot more fun to kind of be a part of.
Yeah.
Getting the kids out away from the bowling center and not get so wrapped up in the Junior Gold environment. You get to come outside and have fun with.
Yeah, and if you guys, you guys still signed some autographs and took some pictures. It's one of those things that not everybody, even though it was however many hours we were at registration, some folks didn't get a chance to make it through.
Yeah,
you're able to catch them that next day, and it was just cool to just the environment of, and like you said, how many. And I don't know, did you hit off any of our guys? Did you bat off of Pete or Rhino or anybody?
I wanted to make sure I hit off of Pete Weber.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're one of our staffers. You're on the tour now. You people go, hey, this guy lead the Masters. He was on TV, and you were pumped because you got the bat wiffle ball off of Pete Weber.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It was awesome.
It's just a fun environment, and
that was my favorite. That was my favorite part of the week too.
Yeah,
was the day in the park,
yeah.
And it was really because of AJ. It was you guys. I was watching the interaction. It was so priceless with not only the athletes that are here to bowl Junior Gold, but the parents and their family members, and they brought their, if they had siblings, they brought the siblings out.
Yeah.
Everyone was invited,
Exactly.
and everyone could do it together. And the smiles and the casual environment made it.
And we know
just fun.
It was practice day, and I got to go to this center, I got to go to that center, and that's the whole thing to break out the deal. And we had the big group early, and then we thought, it's going to be a break and slow down, and then slow down for a bit, and then the next wave of kids come and parents, and but it was cool, for the amount of time we were there, and but yeah, it's kind of breaks up the routine of. Even if you didn't advance to this round where we're talking right now, you got to come hang out. You got, like you said, got to the bowling center.
Yeah.
Got to be outside.
See?
And that's one of the things that, that's what, when people ask all the time, so what are you always bowling? You're in a bowling center. And for the longest time, with me being tour rep, and that was when we had all the tours.
Yeah.
I was 40-plus weeks a year on the road and in a bowling center. And but the thing that I wish I did sooner was I didn't start golf until I was like 24, 25.
I love golf.
I wish I would have golfed sooner because it is the escape. It is to get outside, and that's part of the park deal. Yeah, we couldn't take everybody. Hey, come to the golf course. We'll all play rounds of golf. Because trust me, Pete and Norm, if Norm wasn't hurt,
we would have loved
our guy, you yourself. I mean, everybody was, let's play some golf. But but doing what we did, it was totally awesome and it was totally cool. So. I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm proud to be a part of the Storm family. Like I said, I've been with the company for 14 years, and Storm's been around 30. And me and Hank were talking the other day. Hank's been there 15. He's been there half the time. I'm almost half. I'm like, man, we've been around a long time. He goes, yeah, but wouldn't trade it for the world. It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this family,
Definitely.
the Storm family.
I couldn't agree more.
So, and. As we're watching, and that was a little bit of a move, and again, it's a better shot.
She seemed to have figured out a little bit.
And as we're looking, she's got spare double, and Jasmine started with the front three, so this match is far from over. And over here in the U15, and it looks like Jalen, she had 7-2 there in the fourth, caught another double, and Candace is, I think, honestly, just watching her motion now, I think she's kind of run out of gas.
Yeah.
It's almost midnight.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say,
I know myself, I'm sitting here, I'm sure some of you guys at home can hear, I'm trying to fight back some yawns and stay awake, even with my Diet Mountain Dews. But, it's a grueling format. And now, and I say that, even though it's only a handful of games, but the pace of play, some of these kids are not used to that as either.
Right.
And I don't know if you can talk a little bit about that, AJ, with the pace of play when, some of the guys even we're now made the cuts of today, but we still had 10 on a pair. Man, the down there was taking almost an hour a game.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's hard to get into that rhythm and get that feel. It turns more into the mental grind as opposed to the physical.
And I think a lot of it, too, is the guys like to play the mental games with each other.
Oh, absolutely.
They'll slow down, and then they'll get quicker, and then they'll slow back down. They try to play the games with each other to try and get a little bit of an edge. So I think
I'm going to do that when we bowl the UBA, by the way.
Okay.
I'm calling my 30-second timeout in the first frame.
Nice. He's going to call that every
frame. They have like timeouts like they do for football and whatnot?
No.
We do whatever we want.
We'll do whatever we want, but just Gary
We're the
being
Brigham
Gary.
City Bolts, baby.
Yeah, that's right. And so
it's my first time bowling it, so this is a whole new world for me.
It'll be a fun time. You'll enjoy it. So we got a little change in the action over here in the U20 with Jazz was stepping up. She's got a 3-bagger.
Kayla had the
9 out.
Yeah, the 9 split is what we like to call it.
The ever elusive 9 split.
Yeah. Lucky break on the 3-6-10.
Yeah, I saw that, but.
Jalen looks really intense. Like she's up in the match by about 100, and there's no smiling.
She wants to win by 100
There's
again.
no smiling going on right now.
I can relate to that. I don't smile when I bowl.
You don't?
No, I don't smile at all when I bowl.
You don't smile anytime. He's an angry guy.
When I bowl, I don't smile. I just go about my business.
But do you enjoy it? Is it
he enjoys
I enjoy
it, but
every last minute of it.
Emotion. Yeah. He's an emotion high kind of guy.
Free.
And no, emotion free. He gets pumped up.
I get excited. I get pumped up, but I don't get too low with the lows.
And I think you've probably learned quite a bit from, and I'm guessing he's taking you under his wing, Timmy Mack.
Yes.
Because you remind me a lot of him. You get very amped, very pumped. But some cases, and that's one of the things I was talking about earlier today, too, the opposite side of controlling emotions.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you watch the guys on TV, like what you went through in your experience, a guy like Norm Duke comes back off the approach, and a lot of times you see him with his hands out trying to calm himself down, where a guy like Pete Weber can strive. He does have to keep it in check, but sometimes you got to I've had to remind him, like, hey, dude, you're Pete Weber. Get a little amped up, get the juices flowing.
Yeah.
And as soon as it's like flipping a switch, and boom, he's back in business. And a guy like Norm Duke, he can't run on that high emotion because it wears himself out too fast, and he can't make it through a show. So you have to find what your level of emotion and energy you can disperse. And some of these kids, again, they're not to that level yet. They're kids. They haven't learned that aspect of the game yet. But
you see the difference from the boys to the girls.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the girls, they just kind of go about their business, and they don't really try and play the games like the kids, like the boys do, because they try and get that extra edge, whereas the girls just kind of go about their own business and just bowl the pins. They're not worried about just trying to beat the opponent. They're just trying to put up a score.
And so we have here kind of a change of events, and as Jasmine, she loses 3-6-10, but she actually she had the wash out there. So this match is now kind of, it's anybody's ball game, really. We're halfway through the second game, and there's no one saying, hey, I want this one. So we'll wait and see what happens there.
Jasmine does still have like 30-pin lead in the match.
That's
for the 2 games.
assuming she doesn't open right here. That's
Black Cloud. Have you watched her bowl? She doesn't miss.
It wasn't.
She doesn't throw too many
by the way, if
shots.
you've bowled on tour, AJ and Gary, you've been around a lot. You even bowled yourself on tour.
I did.
The
yeah.
3-6-9-10.
12 years ago.
The 3-6-9-10 or the 3-6-10 is one of the toughest splits on tour.
Splits.
The 210 is converted more often than the 3-6-10 or 3-6-9-10.
Wow.
And it's documented by the PBA, and I can get stats if you guys would like to see that.
See, and I find that interesting because I've never found the 3-6-9-10 to be very much that difficult.
I'm telling you, though, you start watching out there, you're going to be out there full time. You watch the number of guys. There's some guys that just, as soon as they leave it, they shake their head. They might as well just hit the reset button because they know they can't pick it. And that's a move, and she catches a strike.
A little wave of the hand trying to get it to come back. I don't know how much that works.
It's all about training your bowling balls.
I had a really good angle on lane 48, and that shot was money. That was awesome. I think that one actually got to, the spot she's trying to get to down lane, and it just picked up and went through the pins right away. I think you're right. I think Jalen is looking for the 150 pin victory or something.
Gotcha.
Michigan Bowler TV just commented and said they won a cornhole tourney at Junior Gold 2016, and they're going to bring Walter Ray for their partner.
Come on, Craig.
That's just not fair.
Craig chiming in there.
Double over here.
He wants Walter Ray to play cornhole. And actually, I don't even know how good Walter Ray is at cornhole, but
from what I've heard, you don't want to play him in cornhole.
He can pitch horseshoes, but I don't know if he can pitch cornhole.
Rhino said he played against them when they hung out one time and went 4 for 4 3 times in a row.
That surprised me. Yeah, well, that's hence
he
the
has
reason.
good hand-eye coordination.
By the way,
I was just about to say.
Even though he's getting old, I would say we can't even call him lazy eye. He's still dead eye. We got to go with that.
Yeah.
Jasmine steps up here after Kayla catches the double, so we'll see. She makes the adjustment and that's got a push.
Looks better.
And she got it. And again,
the match.
We have a match.
Yeah. Another match coming down to the wire. Just like we saw earlier, Kelly being down a significant amount and coming back shooting 250, and her opponent kind of saw the momentum that she was picking up and kind of lost it after that, and Kelly came back and won the match.
Jaylyn, 436 for her 2 games. That's good, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good for this.
So her opponent, Candace, ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw there. And Candace, let's give it up for Candace. She bowled great all week to get to this spot. And she had a tough go of it, and she had a tough opponent. And
Gary, I can tell you, and we've both experienced it, there's times where 436 is what the score we have through 2.5 games in league.
Yes, sir.
So that's a good score for 2 for the under 15 division.
This is a big spare on lane 47.
Yep.
She hooked at it.
And she mows it down.
No problem.
So still holding that lead, but holding on to the lead. But Kayla's actually working on the double. So we'll see what happens here.
Big shot for
Moving
Miss
in.
Kayla.
Yeah, she gets a good one here. This match could get interesting.
And AJ, you were here the first game or the first set of matches. Looking down as far as I can see around the poles here, same kind of thing happening to boys who like to have their amount of courtesy. Some of those matches are only in the 4th and 5th frame of the second game while we're watching the girls, already a couple of the matches already done. The girls already in the 7th, 8th frame. So it's just a pace of play. It looks like a pretty good pitch if that holds.
Six.
And
That was
Piers,
a very good shot.
She absolutely aced that one.
That was, I think if we were to be able to interview her right now and say, would you like that shot? She'd go, yeah, that was good. Felt good at the bottom.
If she said anything but I think
was,
we would kind of look at her funny.
And Gary, I don't know if you could see as well. I don't know. She switched balls. I don't know what she's throwing.
It may be an IQ tour.
She did make a ball change.
Is an IQ tour? Okay. Black ball looks like a little bit of shine. Obviously less
Looks
aggressive.
a little midnight blue. And plus, it's just rolling like an IQ tour.
Yeah, less aggressive than
the IQ
motion.
look.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see from your side.
Trying to.
But yeah, going from the Hypercell and Crux Pearl, those were pretty high-end balls.
It's hard to tell.
And
real high
with the 4-pin. So we're getting, bear with us at home. We've got our camera gurus are going to do a little.
Our technical advisors.
Our techies
are going to do some adjusting and some moving. And let's see how far we can get. Right, actually there. Right there is good. So we still catch the right lane on the pair that were the focus pair. Perfect.
You know what we haven't talked about today?
The price of tea in China.
We haven't talked about Paul, who just adjusted our camera.
Yeah.
And his filming of being nose to nose with rhinoceroses and zebras and gazelles
and squirrels.
And squirrels.
We were talking about Animal Planet earlier.
Dogs.
We've now got a shark and we've got a rhino. And Paul's got experience videotaping all those kind of creatures, so we have no problem making videos use staffers. So with the square conversion there, we've got what do we got here? Looking like we're
the match has gotten to about 10 pins.
Within depending on what the count is here, within 10 to 20 pins, 15, 20. And then we've adjusted our camera so we can catch some of the action left of this marquee pair.
Couldn't tell if she just missed on that one or got a little quick.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that, again, how many of these kids are used to bowling, even if you are in college or whatnot, it's after midnight. How often have you gotten up and you've bowled all morning, all day, hung around waiting for different stuff and oh, by the way, you had to bowl your match, and it's now after 12. So
yeah,
it's it wears on anybody. I don't care who you are. And as we see in the pair next to us, next to this match, it's we got a doozy going on there too. We got 290 to 242, and she sneaks the spare. So now we can give you guys an honest assessment. We have an 8-pin match. In case you're keeping score at home.
I just got a message, somebody watching from back home.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kayla Crawford fan. She's either throwing her high road or game breaker.
Oh.
Game breaker is the answer we're getting from Game Breaker 2.
Game
as we're
Breaker
getting
2.
Kayla spins around from the pole and says, hey, let me tell you guys what I'm throwing. We didn't want to come down to the pit and actually ask you what's going on, but we now get the insight of what's going on. So, yeah, Game Breaker 2 off of the Crux Pearl and Hypercell. That's definitely a step down going to symmetrical ball. Solid cover, a little bit smoother. So obviously it's coming off the friction. It's a smoother transition off the friction, not as responsive. So obviously it's a lighter control.
So like what we said earlier, the IQ, it's very similar.
Very close. And that's a great shot by Jasmine to wrap a 10. And this match is definitely snugging up still. And what do we got going on over here? We've got Brianna and we've got Kelly. Looks like
Kelly's in trouble in that match.
Yeah, Kelly's ran into looks like a struggle here the second game.
She is not liking lane 45.
She's managed a couple strikes, but yeah, it's getting ugly and making the moves, and just got to figure that out. As Jasmine steps here, 10 pin, looking to fill frames, and she nudges it to knock it down, and that's all you have to do.
Those are back-to-back spares, and she just slid them over there.
Hey, whatever works. So Kayla stepping up here in the 9th frame with chance to tighten that gap a little bit. We'll see what happens.
I like Miss Kayla's game. Very fundamentally sound.
I'm going to say that her qualifying for this tournament, and today it's not her first time bowling.
Yeah.
She's got some experience. And that looks to be Brianna catches a double, and she extended lead. Looks like she's got that match closed out there next door.
It's got to hook a little.
Good shot.
Hook a little bit.
Looks like she kind of got a little firm with that one. Got it through the spot a little too hard. So now I got the bucket. Not an easy spare. You can ask,
especially in this situation.
You can ask, and if you want to get even more, the craziest voicemail I ever had was, and obviously getting cell phones, and you try and save the ones you have, but I'll never forget after Norm Duke converted the bucket to win the U.S. Open that year for like $100,000. And he left me a voicemail. It was like the next week or the week after.
Hook a little.
He's like,
oh, no.
And 6-2, open frame, that changes the game. He calls, Slim Doggy, what's up, buddy? I gotta tell you, man, I've been having nightmares. I see a bucket. I wake up in the morning, I see a bucket. I go to sleep at night, I see a bucket. He goes, I can walk down the street, I see a bucket. He goes, but every time, he goes, I pick the thing up. He goes, man. Anyway, it was something work related, but he told me the first like half the message, I see a bucket everywhere I go. I see a bucket. So yeah, looking at that right there, that's never a fun swat. And so she makes it quick, back up the approach. Honestly, I think it was probably a little too fast. Rust the shot. Probably need to regroup after the bucket, after chopping it. Now leaving a 4-7. Again, not an easy spare. Going cross lane. Now we've had some traffic, so we'll see what see how things work there. And
Jasmine has a chance to step up in the 10th and close it out in the first ball.
Yeah, see if she can. See what Kate can do here, if she can actually pick this up and then
cleans it up.
And now she needs some count here to kind of force Jasmine to at least throw a quality shot in the first shot in the 10th. We'll see how it goes. Again, anything's possible. We've seen it numerous times, both in amateur levels and even professional level. Anybody can be beaten on any given day. Anything can happen at any given time. And that's why we play the game,
It's a good shot.
Pretty good pitch, and nudges it. 4-pin. So the stop sign guy needs to get out of the way so we can see scores.
I believe that is
one
of the reasons why she's made it this far in the tournament, because remember when we started this?
So she's got 390.
Action, she was struggling. She went through a couple different ball changes. She changed her angles through the front part of the lane, and she finished super strong. And that score was, she bowled 199, but I think it was a better game than 190.
Yeah, I would agree.
Jasmine throws a quality shot right there, and it's 10 down, and that seals the deal. Not that she didn't already have it before, just needed a small number of pins, but the REC and all the different age groups, a couple of gutter balls snuck in there. When you least expect it, some things get out of whack, and you push when you should have been pulling, and you push it one way compared to the other, and next thing you know, it goes in the gutter, and you go, I don't know how that happened, but but gentlemen, I think this is going to draw our show to a close here on Bowl TV, and we have to thank USBC for giving us the opportunity of Storm sponsoring it, Sorum Rotogrip Master. USBC, we're proud to be a part of youth bowling and helping grow the sport. And again, it is after midnight, and we get started here again at 7:30 a.m. I think our video guys are actually just going to sleep here in the. They're not even going to go back to the hotel. They're just going
Thank
to lay
you, Paul.
here.
Thank you, Tavio.
They're going to sleep right here in the bleachers and get ready for the morning shift.
And AJ, he doesn't know it, but he's.
He doesn't know it. You have to stay.
We're gonna.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, you're just gonna stay.
Okay, I guess stay here.
It's you and Randy show tomorrow. The AJ and Randy show all day.
Perfect.
You'll just get here around 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the
All right,
wrap-up
good night,
time.
everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow.